this 5 weeks, we're going to explore a little bit of yoga philosophy. And I know for definite that I've covered this before with Sue and with Tracy. Marion, I don't know whether you've done this with me, and I don't know about Gemma and Mike. So we're going to look at the Yamas. So I don't know whether that's ringing any bells with anyone. So the Yamas are the ethical disciplines or restraints. Did I do this with you guys the last time I brought the two groups together? I can't remember.
It sounds familiar, but I couldn't tell you anything. I couldn't say anything about it, but I know the word Yamas. I've heard that before.
Yeah. Okay.
You did a little bit at lunch times in the innovation centre, as I recall.
Yeah, I would have thought that I would have mentioned it. So there are 5 Yamas altogether, and they are non-violence, truthfulness, non-stealing, non-excess, and non-possessiveness. So for the next 5 weeks, we're going to look at one of those in each class. And if you have done this with me before, this is different to what I've done previous times. And it's always good, I think, to recap these things. So the Yamas are one of the 8 limbs of yoga. And it's the very first of the 8 limbs of yoga. And it comes from the Yoga Sutra, which is a roughly 2,000-year-old philosophical text on yoga. And the idea would be with the 8 limbs of yoga is that traditionally you would master each of the limbs in turn. So until you've mastered the practice of the yamas, so the whole of the ethical disciplines, then you wouldn't move on to the next limb, which is the niyamas, which is like moral disciplines. And then you have to master both of those things before you move on to the next step, which is asana, which is the physical practice. So in theory, you kind of master a lot of the kind of right thought, right action, right deed before your teacher would ever allow you traditionally to make any nice fancy shapes. So it's quite good sometimes to look at this stuff, because it helps with the understanding that yoga is so much more than the physical stuff that we tend to do a lot of the time in the West. And it's actually grounded in quite a lot of philosophical practice. And when you start to get further through the 8 limbs into pranyama, which is breathing, pratyahara, which is sense withdrawal, and then you've got dhyana, dharana, and samadhi. So the last one being kind of bliss and that kind of ultimate realization with the divineness of everything, which is when it starts to get a little bit, how do I get my head around this stuff? Whereas these are much easier to kind of grasp. So we're going to look at Ahimsa today, which is the first of the yamas. And Ahimsa is usually translated as non-violence. But you can also translate it as kind of self-compassion or kindness. So it's about not causing any harm to any living being, including yourself. And it becomes quite interesting when you start to really practice Ahimsa. Like I've been trying to de-greenfly my plants today, and I've had real guilt about potentially killing these greenfly that are eating my plants. And that's partly because the kind of belief is in yoga is that everything is intrinsically linked, and so nothing has got any greater right to kind of life than anything else. And so You know, why do I have a right to kill the green fly just because it's eating my lettuce that I want for dinner? Yeah, it's one of those interesting ones when you start to really practice it. It's when you start to realize that you're walking down the road and you stand on a snail and then you've turned around to apologize to the snail that you didn't see that you stood on. And obviously there's the recognition within kind of the practice of ahimsa and non-violence that it is impossible to live a life without ever doing any harm to anything else, because, you know, you can't help walking down the road and, you know, potentially standing on a snail. But one of the ways of looking at ahimsa is about your kind of kindness and self-compassion towards yourself, and how you treat yourself, how your kind of inner monologue talks to yourself. How kind are you to yourself? Because you know, you should be thinking about that self-compassion and kindness to yourself as much as you are to anybody or anything else. And actually you tend to find with people that that's what they find the most challenging, is kind of self-compassion, self-care, self-kindness. It's easy to do it for other people, less easy when you're trying to apply all of that to yourself. So we're going to kind of explore a little bit of that through the asana, through the postures that we're going to look at today. So all of the postures pretty much are going to be heart opening. So it's all about opening the heart, and it's about kind of finding self-compassion, and it's about finding kindness, both for yourself and for everybody else and everything else that's out there. So we're going to start laying down. So if you want to lay down, so flat on your back. You can have your knees bent if you want to, if that's comfortable for you, that's absolutely fine. If you'd rather have your legs out straight, then that's also fine. It really doesn't matter. And then bring your hands to rest over your heart space. And if you need to have your hands slightly apart, so you've got fingertips over your heart space, so you can allow your elbows to rest on the floor, that's fine. Just make sure that you're comfortable and that you can relax. And starting off by bringing your attention to your breath. So noticing your breath coming and going, in and out, nice and gentle. And then take a scan of your body. So from the tip of your head to the tips of your toes, right the way down each arm into the tips of your fingers. Scan all the way through your body, noticing any tension or any tightness. And try and release any of that tension or tightness that you might find in your body. Try and really let it all go. With each breath, feel into your heart space. Notice what is there. Notice what is arising for you in the space of the heart. Notice how you feel. And now invite your breath to move through your heart space, inviting it to feel safe, to feel secure, and to feel deeply relaxed. Imagine that you have some windscreen wipers over your heart. And with each breath, those windscreen wipers are clearing away any murkiness, any stress or any tension. You're really letting go of anything that might be bothering you. And if it feels like the right thing to do now, sense into your heart space and cultivate some compassion there within your heart for every living thing. Now cultivate compassion for yourself. Now holding those feelings of compassion for every living thing and compassion for yourself, holding that in your heart. And see if you can take that feeling with you beyond this meditation and into the practice and beyond after the class is finished. So we're going to start to gently ease our way now into a physical practice, but we don't need to move too much at the moment. We're going to stay laying down. If your knees aren't already bent, then bend your knees, bringing your feet flat down on the earth. And you're going to start by leaving your hands over your heart space. And then on an inhale, you're just going to open your hands out, bringing the backs of your hands to the earth. And as you exhale, bringing your hands back together over your heart. And then keep that movement going. So you're inhaling, opening the heart space. And then exhaling, bringing the hands back. So imagining that your hands are full of that compassion. As you inhale and open, you allow that compassion to spread out to the world. And as you exhale and close, you bring that compassion into your heart space. And if this all feels good, you can start to add your legs into this movement. So as you inhale and open, so you allow your knees to drop out to the side. And then as you exhale and close, your knees come back together and your hands over your heart space. You're inhaling to open and exhaling to close. Nice and slow, nice and gentle. And after this one that you're on now, we're all going to meet back together in the closed position. So knees together, hands over the heart space. And then bring your knees into your belly and allow yourself a lovely knee hug. And while you're there, circling your ankles. So they can both go in one direction, they can both go in different directions, it really doesn't matter. And whichever way you were going, swapping directions with your ankles. And then bring them to stillness. And gently rock your way up to seated. Lovely. So coming to cross-legged if that's comfortable, otherwise whatever is comfortable for you. And we're going to start bringing chin to chest. Just taking a few breaths here, bringing chin down to chest. And then inhale, bring your head back up through the midline. You're going to take your arms, take a big circle backwards, bring your hands behind and clasp your hands behind you. And then roll your shoulders back, pull your hands down towards the earth. And if you want to, you can start to also lift them up behind. So really opening the front of the chest, opening the heart space and seeing if you can breathe into the heart space, breathing into the front of the chest. And exhale to release. Bring the left hand down to the earth, just beside your left thigh. And with your right arm, try to keep your right arm nice and relaxed. What you're going to do is take a nice big circle with the arm. This is quite a relaxed, sort of fluid movement. It's almost as though as your arm comes up overhead, you lead with your elbow rather than leading with your hand. So you're taking nice big circles, really opening that right side of the body. You can lean as much into that left hand as you feel that you want to. You can get your kind of head involved as well if you want to. This is really, really fluid, almost like there's water moving through your body. And then coming back to neutral, so sitting up nice and straight. And again, bring chin to chest. Again, just breathing into the stretch down the back of the neck. And then on an inhale, bringing your head back up through the midline. Again, circling the arms backwards, nice big circle. Clasp the hands behind, pull the hands down to the earth and also lift them up if you want to. Just pulling them down is fine. We're interested in creating the space in the front of the body, so the really opening of the heart space. Breathing into the heart. Exhale to release. Pop your right hand down on the earth, just beside your right thigh. And this time we're going to take the left arm around in a circle. So nice and big, nice and fluid. Leading with the elbow as you come up overhead. Coming as far to the side as feels comfortable. And then again, bringing that back to neutral. Lovely. We're going to come now over to all fours. So planting hands below shoulders, knees below hips. We're going to take some cat stretches. So standard cat stretches, inhaling up, exhaling down. So working these with your breath. And then the next time you come to your up cat, holding the up cat for a few breaths. So you're trying to really pull the chest through the shoulders, really opening the chest up, pushing the floor away with your hands. Release to neutral, and then come to kneeling. And bring your hands to prayer, Anjali Mudra at your heart center. Inhale, come up. Exhale, bring one leg out in front so you come to one knee. Inhale, bring hands out in front. And then exhale, open to the right hand side. Inhale to center. Exhale, open to the left. Inhale to center. Exhale, open right. Inhale to center. Exhale, open left. Inhale to center. Exhale, hands back to your heart. Inhale, lift both hands up overhead. Exhale, drop your right hand down and left hand comes overhead to come to a side stretch. Inhale, bring both hands up overhead. Exhale, hands come back to your heart. And we're going to come to all fours. Tuck your toes underneath as you come to all fours. And then push into the hands, push into the feet, lift your tailbone and come up to downward dog. And we're going to walk the dog. So pushing the heels away one at a time, stretching out the backs of your legs. Making sure you keep your shoulder blades down your back, nice long neck. And now bring both heels down towards the earth, so the feet are now still. You're going to inhale, lift the right leg up behind. So some of you might stay here. Some of you might bend the right knee. So you drop the right foot over to the left-hand side to come to what I lovingly call peeing dog pose. And if that all feels okay, you might want to take it another step further and come and look underneath your right arm. So you're opening all the way through the right side of your body. And then from wherever you are, on an exhale, step the right foot all the way forwards between the hands. So you can use your hands to help you if you need to. So you should end up in a lunge position. Drop the left heel to the earth. And then inhale, come all the way up to warrior one. So hands come up overhead, nice bend with the front knee. Shoulder blades down your back, grounding through the back edge of your back foot. Exhale, bring the hands to horizontal, open both of your hips, look down along the length of the front arm to come to warrior two. Make sure that your front knee doesn't drop inwards. Try and relax shoulders, relax head and neck. Straighten your front leg as you inhale. And then exhale, drop your left hand down behind, lift your right arm up to come to a variation on Peaceful Warrior. So really reaching away with the right fingertips, stretching through the front of the body. And then exhale, bring the right hand down, either to rest on your shin or to rest on the earth, stacking the left hand on top to come to Trikonasana. So your front leg should be almost straight. Opening your chest, looking up along the length of your left arm if that feels okay for you. Inhale, come back up. Look over your front leg. Both hands come up overhead. And then bring the arms down the back and clasp your hands behind you. Bend the front knee. And then as you exhale, fold forwards, lifting the hands up overhead. This is called Humble Warrior Pose. It can be quite tricky, so work with where you are. Inhale, come back up. Release the clasp. Circle your hands all the way around and then bring your hands behind. Either clasp your elbows, or if it's accessible to you, take reverse prayer with your hands. And then straighten your front leg. So it's not locked, but pretty much straight. And then exhale and fold forwards. So you're bringing your chin down to your shin. Parsvakonasana. On an exhale, drop your hands down either side of your front foot. Bend your knee as much as you need to allow you to do that. And lift your left heel back up off the mat so you're in a lunge position. And then step back to plank. Drop your knees if you want to. Lower yourself all the way down to the earth. So you should be laid now on your belly. Bring your hands so your elbows are about an inch in front of your chest. Roll your shoulder blades down your back. Tuck your tailbone, push the tops of your feet into the earth. And then push into your hands and lift yourself up to Sphinx pose. Keeping shoulder blades down your back. So you're trying to bring your chest through kind of, what am I trying to say? You're trying to open your chest. So shoulder blades come back and the chest comes up and through. Exhale, lower down. Bring your hands either side of your chest and then push yourself back up to all fours. So you might need to adjust your hands and your feet slightly to get the right all fours position with hands below shoulders and knees below hips. Awesome. So back to our cat stretches. So inhale for up cat and then exhale, arching back, pulling belly in and looking down. So once again, work with your breath. Inhaling, belly drops, head comes up. Exhaling, zipping everything in through the front of your body, pulling everything in nice and tight. And then the next time you come to up cat, come and hold for a few breaths. So really shooting the shoulder blades down the back, lifting chin and chest. And then exhaling to neutral. Tuck toes underneath. Push into hands, push into feet, lift your tailbone up towards the sky to come to downward dog. So static dog this time, heels pushing down towards the earth, shoulder blades down your back, hands are hip width apart, fingers spread. On an inhale, lift your left leg up behind. So some of you will stay here. Some of you might bend the left knee, dropping the foot over towards the right hand side. Some of you will stay there. And some of you might then want to come and look underneath the left arm. So working with whichever version feels right for you. And then as you exhale, stepping that left foot all the way forwards between your hands. Drop your right heel down onto the earth. And on an inhale, sweep your arms up to come to warrior one, Virabhadrasana one. Keeping shoulder blades down your back. Nice bend with the front knee. Grounding through the back edge of the back foot. And then exhale, bring the hands to horizontal, open the hips, look down along the length of the front arm to come to warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2. Keeping the bend with the front knee, making sure the knee doesn't drop inwards. Keep shoulder blades down your back. Inhale, straighten your front leg. Exhale, drop your right hand down your back, lift your left hand up, looking up and along the length of your left arm. A variation on peaceful warrior. And then exhaling, bringing the left hand down to the mat or to your shin. Right hand stacks, chest opens to come to Trikonasana, triangle pose. Keeping your shoulder blades down your back. Lots of length through the sides of your body. Front leg should be towards straight but not locked. Inhale, come back up. Bring both hands back up overhead. And then bring your hands behind and clasp your hands. Roll your shoulders back, opening your chest. Take a bend with the front knee. And on an exhale, fold forwards, lifting your hands up off your back. The humble warrior. Keep lifting the hands. Work with your body. This can be quite challenging. It can be quite challenging on the balance as well. So if you're really struggling with balance, then bringing your feet closer together will help. Inhale, come up. Release the clasp. Take your hands around in a nice big circle and either clasp your elbows or take reverse prayer, whichever works for you. Straighten the front leg, but don't lock the knee joint. And then as you exhale, fold forwards for Parsvakonasana. You can shorten your stance here if you need to. So you're bringing your chin down towards your shin. Exhale, bring your hands down to the earth on either side of your foot, bending knee if you need to. Lift your back heel and step back to plank. You can drop your knees to the earth if you want to, and then keep your elbows in close to your body as you lower yourself all the way down. Leave your hands either side of your chest. Roll your shoulder blades down your back. Tuck your tailbone, glutes are nice and strong. Tops of your feet are lightly pushing into the earth. And then on an inhale, push into your hands and come up to cobra. So it's absolutely fine if your cobra is low and you're right down here. It's also fine if your cobra is much higher. Wherever you are, make sure shoulder blades stay down the back. Try and spread your weight evenly through your hands. Tailbone tucks, belly pulls in and up. Make sure that the lower back isn't complaining. If the lower back is complaining, ease off. And then exhale, push into your hands and come all the way back to kneeling. And bring your hands to prayer at your heart center. Inhale, come up to a high knee. Exhale, bring your left leg out in front. Inhale, bring both hands out in front. Exhale, open to the left. Inhale, back to center. Exhale to the right. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, left. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, right. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, hands back to your heart space. Inhale, lift both hands up overhead. Exhale, drop your left hand down to the side. Right hand comes up overhead and reach the fingertips down, reaching your, I've lost my left and right, reaching your right fingertips away from you. So you've got a nice stretch through the side of your body. And then inhale, bring both hands up overhead. Exhale, hands back to your heart center. Inhale, back to kneeling. And exhale, come and sit back down. And then come and lay flat down on your back. Knees bent, feet in close to your buttocks, roughly hip width apart, bringing your arms out to the side in a T shape. Palms facing down. We're going to exhale and drop the knees down towards doesn't matter, towards one side. And then inhale, bring them back to center. And exhale, take the knees to the other side. And inhale, back to center. Keep this going. Work with your own breath rhythm. And if it all feels okay and you've got a nice controlled movement, then you can lift your feet up off the floor so your shins are parallel to the sky. It's exactly the same movement. Exhaling to drop the knees to one side. Inhaling to center. And then exhaling to the other side. Try and keep both shoulders flat down on the earth as you move, whichever version of this you're doing.
The next time you drop your legs to one side, it doesn't matter which side that is, just allow yourself to rest in that position. And if you want to, you can turn your head to face the opposite way to your knees. And rest and breathe. Bring your head back to center. On an inhale, bring your knees back to center. And then exhale, drop them to the other side. And again, if you want to, you can turn your head to face the opposite way. Breathing into the stretch. Allowing the earth to support you. Bring your head back to center. On an inhale, bring your knees back to center. And then drop your feet down to the earth. Bring your hands down beside you, palms flat down on the earth again. On an inhale, tuck your tailbone and then start to lift your vertebrae up off the floor one at a time to come to bridge pose. And exhale, lower yourself back down, one vertebrae at a time. Make sure you've got your feet in close to your buttocks and your feet hip width apart. And make sure this movement is nice, slow and controlled. Imagine you've got a brick between your knees that you're gripping onto to stop your knees from falling out to the sides. And just work with your own body. Remember the self-compassion. And just work with where your body is today. Notice how your back feels. Ease off if you've got any back complaints or if your back's telling you it doesn't like this. There's no need to push. That's all feeling good. Then if you want to, you can add your arms in. So as you inhale and lift, you bring your arms up overhead, the backs of your hands coming down towards the earth. And as you exhale and lower, you bring your hands down beside you. So if you've added your arms in, try and coordinate movement and breath. So as you reach the end of your movement, the hands touch down. So as you inhale and lift, as you reach your maximum stretch, you also reach the end of your inhale and the backs of your hands touch the earth. And then as you exhale and lower, your tailbone touches back down on the mat at the same time as you reach the end of your exhale and your palms connect again with the earth. So really see if you can focus on this coordination between breath and movement. So you can stay with the lifting and lowering. Or if you want to, the next time you lift, you can lift and hold. It's entirely up to you whether you want to do that with your arms overhead or whether you would prefer to have your arms down beside you as you lift and hold. And also, as I said, you can stick with the lifting and lowering. If you're holding, make sure you're keeping hold of your imaginary brick between your knees. Keep pushing into the earth with your feet. Keep pushing your hips up towards the sky. Keep lifting your chest towards your chin. If your hands are up overhead, try and relax your shoulders. Nice, even, gentle breath. Coming down if you need to before I give the instruction to do so. There's no obligation to stay here. And then exhale. Very gently from wherever you are, lower everything back down to the mat. And bring your knees into your belly for a knee hug. So another opportunity for a little bit of self-care. You can really find something that feels nice for your lower back here. And that might be a completely static movement, that might be a completely static position. That's absolutely fine. Okay, we're going to start to head towards Shavasana now. So if you would like to have pillows or cushions or blankets or any of the above, then do grab hold of them now. And start to settle yourself down. Taking a scan through your body. Starting with the crown of your head. Feeling a liquid relaxation seeping into the crown of your head. Spreading throughout your head and your face. Notice your cheeks and your jaw are relaxing. Notice that your mouth is relaxing. That liquid relaxation spreads down into your neck, your shoulders, feeling tension easing away to the back of your body, all the way down your back, all the way down the front of your body. And that liquid relaxation moves into the tops of your arms and spreads down into the ends of each of your fingers and thumbs. It moves throughout your pelvis and into your legs, your knees, your shins and calves, your ankles, the soles of your feet,
from each of your toes until your whole body is completely relaxed. Your whole body is completely relaxed. Your whole body completely relaxed. Wiggle your fingers. Wiggle your toes. Drop your head gently from one side to the other. And then taking care of the space that you have around you, bring your hands up overhead and allow yourself a nice fingertip to toe tip stretch. Then very gently find your way to your right hand side or your left hand side, it doesn't really matter. And then when you feel ready, find your way to seated. Bringing hands up overhead in the Prana Mudra. Bring your hands together overhead and bring them all the way down to your heart space. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be happy and free, and may the thoughts, words and actions of my own life contribute in some way to that happiness and freedom for all. Namaste. Thank you.